Uh, okay, well, welcome everybody. This year is the centenary of the birth of Max Roach, who was born on the 11th of January, 1924, in somewhere in North Carolina, close to something called the Great Dismal Swamp. Um, and I wanted to celebrate 100 years of his music, though we're a bit late in the year for that, but I thought better late than never. Uh, Max died on the 16th of August 2007. He came of age at the same time as bebop was coming onto the scene in New York, and together with Kenny Clarke, revolutionized jazz drumming, transforming it from uh, the styles that were associated with swing. We'll see his subsequent development and a lot of the different lineups he played with in a number of clips. So this is going to be a bit of a collage. I had hoped to be able to get hold of the new documentary that has been made for PBS in the US, but it's not available outside the US. And I was hoping as a backup that I'd be able to get hold of the 1984 Channel 4 program in the series called Repercussions, but that is not available either. It seems to have disappeared unless it's somewhere in the deep recesses of the British Film Institute archive. So what we've got here is a selection from a very large number of clips that there are on YouTube. And we're going to start with two pieces of Max soloing, though in both cases his group is there. We're just going to hear his solo. Our ex-president, late President Harry Fisher, was allergic to drum solos, so I don't think he'd ever appreciated tonight. Max himself joked that he could play solos for an entire 2.5 hour gig, but he didn't think the punters would like it. So we're going to hear some soloing and then a number of different groups, some of which are, I think, very rare clips. So we're going to start with Max with his quintet live at the Alhambra in Paris in 1960. This was at the same time that he made an album called Parisian Sketches while he was in Paris. And though we don't hear much of them, the lineup here is the two Turrentine brothers, Tommy on trumpet and Stanley on tenor, Julian Priester on trombone, and Bob Boswell, who plays along with Max, on the bass. And here's the first clip. Oops, sorry. Okay. I just need to sort out my screen properly. Okay, the second piece we're going to hear is from a July 1984 concert in East Berlin, which is Max with his quartet, which we will hear later on in the evening. And this is his solo introduction to Good Bait, which he plays in 3/4 Wolf time. Max had a liking for 3/4 time, having issued in the mid-50s an album called Jazz in 3/4 time, when these times were unusual. Okay, so here he is playing the introduction to Tad Dameron's tune Good Bait as a drum solo. Okay, next we're going to hear two rare clips of Max with his groups from the 1950s. And the first one is, I think, the only known footage of the trumpeter Clifford Brown here with the Max Roach Clifford Brown quintet on a program called Soupy Sales, And unfortunately, both the picture and the sound are not very good, and you may need to turn your volume up to hear it. Max here is it just in the background, keeping time essentially, and I'm assuming it's George Morrow on bass and Richie Powell on piano, who were the players in the group at the time, and we're going to hear two tunes followed by a bit of an interview with Clifford Brown, and they are Lady Be Good and Memories of You.
This week is one of the great jazz groups in the country today, and that's the Max Roach Cliff Brown Ensemble. And with us tonight is one of the outstanding jazz trumpeters in the country today, MRC recording star Clifford Brown. There's our guest tonight, Clifford Brown. Cliff, come over. We want to talk with you. And it's been about 7-8 months. When you last on our show, you were just you and Max had been in the picture Carmen Jones. Right. And you were at the Roost. How long you be at the Roost?
Well, we'll be there for 1 week. We open Tuesday and we close Sunday.
Sunday, you gonna do a matinee in the afternoon Sunday?
Yes, we have a matinee. Yes, 4 o'clock Sunday.
Wonderful. Listen, of course, you know we're a great fan of Dinah Washington. We have a lot of her records. I have a lot of yours. You're on a lot of her records. What's your latest album?
Well, our latest album is called The Study in Brown on the MRC label.
I understand you just became a father, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what did I have, a boy or a girl?
A little boy. 6 pounds, 4 ounces.
Yeah. He's born with a trumpet in his mouth. That's what it is. Listen, Cliff, certainly, appreciate you coming up tonight. Tell Max we said hello. And we'll be able to see you. Thank you very much. We'll right along with us here. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Thanks for being with us. Good night, guys.
Okay, that was recorded in 1955. We're going to move forward 3 years now to Max's late 1950s group with another star trumpeter destined to die much too young, Booker Little. And the group otherwise is George Coleman on tenor, Ray Draper on tuba, Art Dalis on bass, and Max on drums, of course. And I don't know if this is the only known film of Booker Little, but it's good to see him as well as Clifford Brown. Here we are. This is something called Minor Mode Blues.
Join us again tomorrow night for another session while Soupy's on with more music, variety, and fun with Detroit's zaniest, Soupy.
Welcome once again to Stars of Jazz. Tonight we are in luck. The occasion, the first annual Monterey, California Jazz Festival. Last week brought to our western shores many top names in the jazz world. One of the more important of which was Max Roach. And because Max and his men are here on our coast, we're very fortunate to have him with us this evening. But more about the Monterey Festival later. Our vocal star tonight is one of the great names in the realm of jazz singing. She is Marianne McCaw. But first, however, the Max Roach Quintet with Booker Little on trumpet. They kick things off with Minor Mode Blues.
Okay, well, next we're going to hear a live rendition of what was probably Max Roach's best known album, and best known both for its musical and for its social content, the Freedom Now Suite, which famously had on the front cover a picture of three black students sitting in at a lunch counter, in other words, trying to bust segregation in the South. And this was recorded in 1960 at a time when the civil rights movement was really getting going, and these sit-ins were becoming quite common. This features, this is a recording for Belgian television made in 1964. And this is a version that has been colorized. It was in black and white originally. It features Max's then wife, Abby Lincoln, and his group at the time, which was Clifford Jordan replacing George Coleman on tenor, Coleridge Perkinson on piano, Eddie Kahn on bass, and Max Roach on drums, with Abby Lincoln on vocals. And this goes through a number of tracks from the album, though the recording is not quite in the same order or contain all the same material as the album, but it starts with Driver Man with a Clifford Jordan solo, which is an evocation of slavery. Triptych, Prayer, Protest, Peace, where there's a solo by Coleridge Perkinson and Max, and then All Africa, which points to the relations of the civil rights movement to the movement then becoming successful for the independence of the African colonies. And we finish off with Freedom Day, which is incomplete. So here we go, and this will be for the rest of the first half, the Freedom Now Suite. Just need to cut out the long introduction by the Belgian commentator here. Okay.
Drive a man, he made a life, but the mammy ain't his wife. Chopping cotton, don't be slow. Better finish out your row. Keep a moving with that plow. Drive a man will show you how. Get to work and root that stump. Drive a man will make you jump. Better make your hammer ring. Drive a man will start to swing. Ain't but two things on my mind. Drive a man and quitting time. Drive a man, the kind of boss. Ride a man and lead a horse. When his cat o' nine-tail fly, you be happy just to die. Run away and you be found by his big old red boner hound. Patty roll up, bring you back, make you sorry you is black. Drive a man, he made a life, but the mammy ain't his wife. Ain't but two things on my mind. Drive a man and quitting time. Zulu, what to see? Ashanti, Elero, Grabo, Igbo, Whisper, listen, whisper, say we're free. Rumors flying, must be lying, can it really be? Can't conceive it, don't believe it, but that's what they say. Slave no longer, this is Freedom Day. Freedom Day, it's Freedom Day. Throw those shackling chains away. Everybody that we see says it's really true. We're free. Freedom Day, Freedom Day. Free to vote and earn our pay. Dim the path and hide the way. But we've made it Freedom Day.
Okay, bass and drums, just bass and drums. Everybody else start doing two. Profit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, play.
Will you please welcome to the Blues Alley Bandstand? Give a very warm Blues Alley welcome to.
Right, sorry about that. Having a few problems with my controls tonight, but that was the Freedom Now suite, and that is the end of the first half. Okay, for the second half, we're going to largely hear stuff from the 1980s and 90s. In fact, entirely from the 1980s and 90s. And we're going to start with 4 numbers from an early 80s gig at a club called Blues Alley in Washington, D.C. And we'll hear the quartet, which Max had for a long time, though the bass player changed, which Cecil Bridgewater on trumpet, Dean Pope on tenor saxophone, and here it's Calvin Hill on bass. And because it's Calvin Hill, I've sort of guessed that it's from the early 1980s. And the 4 tracks we're going to hear are first Max playing solo for Big Sid, dedicated to one of his inspirations, Sid Catlett, followed by It's Time, which was another civil rights anthem from a 1962 album of the same name. Here, and we hear Cecil Bridgewater and Calvin Hill soloing. Then something which is called here 6-bit blues, but I've heard it talked about as Red River blues. And then finally, if I can find it, we're going to hear Stanley Cowell's composition Effie, which is from the 1968 album Members Don't Get Weary, and here it's played by the quartet. So here we go.
please welcome to the Blues Alley Bandstand and give a very warm Blues Alley welcome to the great Mr. Max Roach.
You know, when I worked on 52nd Street with folks like Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie, especially Charlie Parker, the first piece of the first set of the evening was always the most difficult, the hardest, and the fastest of all the pieces. And I remember Miles would be struggling, I would be struggling, Al Haig would be struggling. In any case, we're going to try something like that here for the first show, the first set this evening, playing an original composition. The title of it is It's Time. Thank you. Cecil Bridgewater. Odin Pope. Mr. Cecil Bridgewater.
Okay, now we will hear Effie. My hands are up. Right, Odin Pope, who we heard there on tenor, has just celebrated his 85th birthday, believe it or not. Okay, the next track we're going to hear is actually part of it's a clip from the PRS video that I talked about at the beginning, television program more precisely. And this is quite interesting, I think, and it's about Max Roach and an encounter between jazz and hip hop. And it's quite the sort of the interview part of it, which is with Max's godson. It's quite revealing, I think, that well, we hear a bit of Max himself as well, talking about his philosophy of sound rather than music. He doesn't want to be constrained by music, but is obviously drawn to hip hop by the sound, the rhythm, and also because he sees it as a development of Black culture and a new stage in Black culture. So it also shows that he has cross-generational appeal for what he's doing. And we'll hear that also in the next clip, which is quite short. If I can.
A lot of bebop purists want Max and people that made that great music over 50 years ago. They want those guys to continue to play the same thing. And Max and those guys were always about that new and that next thing. Right about now, my man with the fresh approach, none other than the maestro, Max Roach. Check it out. Rock. The musical director at the Kitchen, a performance arts space in New York, had a meeting with Max Roach, and the idea came, what about a performance? Max. This is still early 80s. Yeah, Max.
I was at that performance with Fab Five Freddy, and the DJ said, the Kitchen, yeah. Max is there with his suit, you know, debonair, looking like Max Roach, you know. It's like, oh, new drum music is being made in the culture. Well, of course, Max Roach is here. Most natural thing in the world. In some ways, he was kind of this living, totemic art piece, art object.
When the rap craze came, it was another thing that excited me because I said, now this is the same thing I've been working on all these years. Because what they did was just use rhythm without using the rules of music theory. So when my peers say, well, Max, you know, you're dealing with these rap, that's not music, you know? And I say, well, it may not be music, but it's part of the world of sound that music is part of. And they created something that was very valid for me.
He got the anarchic, disruptive aspects of their music. And it just gives you a sense of really his connection to blackness.
Of course, my dad's like, look, Max Roach is on television. Like, he didn't care what else was going on. But I was kind of looking at my dad like, wait a minute. You realize, like, there's a fusion collaboration between the music I like that you detest and the music, like, this can work.
Thank you very much. Max, Fab Five Freddy, see you later.
The fact that he saw that vision before it became cool in the early 90s for you to mix your hip-hop and your jazz together shows like how ahead of the curve he was.
Okay, particularly from the 80s and 90s onwards, Max played a lot of duos with a wide range of players. Saxophonists such as Anthony Braxton and Archie Shepp, pianists ranging from Cecil Taylor to Abdullah Ibrahim and Randy Weston. And we're going to see a short clip with of one of these duets with Mal Waldron, who first played with Max in the 1950s. And this is a bit of a track called Mistral Breeze, Mistral Breeze, rather.
I think a life without music is no life at all, really. Well, it's like breathing to me. It's and I have to breathe to live, you know. That's what it is. It's life. It's life to me. Yeah. If you can't hear music, no music in your life at all, it'll be a very dead life.
First time I saw Mal and heard him play was in Brooklyn at a place called the Club Coronet on Fulton Street. No.
Roy Brooks. Joe Chambers.
Right, the final clip we're going to hear is from the percussion ensemble Boom, which Max started in 1971 and which lasted well into the 1980s. It reflects his dedication both to percussion and to creating new and interesting types of sound. There are a number of long clips on YouTube, some of which are very much free with the musicians finding various textures through improvising. But that can be a bit deceptive, because there was one well, I thought that was what's going on. And later on, I found that what they were doing was actually improvising the sound of a storm. And I wondered why at one point all the musicians started patting their stomachs, and it turned out that that was to simulate the sound of rain. So it's quite interesting anyhow, and they did produce some very nice more traditional music as well. Am I going to hear a track from M. Boone? And this is of a percussive jazz standard. And this is their version of Thelonious Monk's tune Epistrophe.
Omar Clay, Fred King, Ray Mantilla, Max Roach, Warren Smith, Frederick White, Boom Rap.
Right, that is my centenary glimpse of Max Roach on film. There's plenty more out there if you look on YouTube, and some of it's very interesting and worth looking at. So thank you for listening.